Morning, guys. I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes to see if anybody else is going to join the class, okay?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon, yeah.
Oh, Grace, do you still have my book?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Welcome, Aiden.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good. All right, I'll give it one more minute and then we have to start. All right, I'm going to start off today's session a little differently than I did my two other classes I had today. With the first thing that I need to make people understand, and right now I'm speaking to the choir. If Miss Bunton suggests a Zoom session, that is because Miss Bunton is aware that you would have difficulty understanding the work and doing it on your own without any teacher's help. Miss Bunton does not have IXL. She does not have Flipgrid. She does not have Ed Puzzles to do what we're supposed to do. The other teachers, I think they have it quite easy, to be honest with you, because they can go and look for things already made or done, and it's supposed to help you learn. So for example, if you were doing work in world history for Miss Delgado, you would have to go to IXL and you would have to go through the screens and you would learn how to do the task she's telling you to do and then take a test on it. Miss Bunton does not have that. We have to focus on Bud, not Buddy, and there's no Flipgrid or IXL out there about Bud, not Buddy. It is specific to our journal, so it does make it a little difficult when you guys don't attend the Zoom sessions for your lesson and then I go and grade your work and it's done wrong. It's done completely wrong. And that is how some of your classmates, and right now you guys are here listening, but some of your classmates did not come today, and this was the third one today. And with that being said, if you don't attend class, so to speak, you're not going to know how to do it the right way. Some pages, yes, I do agree. Some journal pages are easy. Some journal pages are not. These journal pages are not easy. It takes a lot of directions and it takes a lot of explaining. Ms. Bunton did try to type it up as best she could in the direction box today, but Ms. Bunton is sending back a lot of work with low grades on it, 40s, 60s, 70s, and there's no excuse for that. Not really, not if you read the directions. And that's the other thing your teachers are frustrated with, is that when we give an assignment, we put the name there, but then we'll type directions that go with that assignment. many students are not reading the directions with the assignment. So that's a problem as well. Not coming to class and not reading the directions. In reading class, that means coming to see me so you can hear me talk about it, because I do not have an IXL, I do not have a flip grid, and I do not have Ed puzzles. I don't have them for this class. So with that being said, it is important to come to the Zoom sessions. It is important to listen to me give the directions. It is important for you to ask questions when you don't understand something that I'm talking about. And it is important that if you don't understand how to do something, you message me on Edsby because you don't understand how to do the assignment. All right, so here we go. We are going to turn in our journals right now to page 70 and 71. 70, I'm only going to talk about briefly. Okay. Page 70 was where we had the directions of what we are going to be doing. Page 70 is the directions of what we are going to be doing. Does everyone understand that? And you had to circle buzzwords, and you had to submit this page with 71. Page 71, we read each paragraph, and we put the gist of each paragraph in the margins like we would have if we were in the classroom. Afterwards, you had to code the text. Every time you saw the claim, and in this essay, it was to thrive. Steve Jobs used his rules to thrive. Every time you saw to thrive, you had to put a letter C next to it in every paragraph. Okay? For the T, where did you see the quotes being used for the rules? You saw a quote in body 1, a quote in body 2, a quote in body 3. You guys should have had a T here, a T here, and a T here. But I'm going to be honest with you, if you put T's here at the bottom where it listed the 3 rules, they were paraphrased, that would have been okay also. Now the E was a big one. After every quote, the author's job is to explain why, in their own thinking, why that rule showed Steve Jobs used that rule to thrive. He was to explain how Steve Jobs used that rule to thrive, and he did, both skillfully and logically. Say those words, skillfully and logically.
Skillfully and logically.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to go on to, now that we talked about that, that was where we started. We started with using a great essay, like that would have been a 442 in my class, a 442. We started talking about a great essay and what was in it. So that means I want you to go and look at the rubric on page 78. Go ahead and turn to page 78 in your journal. Now, I want you to look at these columns right here. 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Miss Bunton does not want to talk about 2, 1, or 0. Take a moment and think about why Miss Bunton doesn't want to talk about 2, 1, or 0, and type your answer in the chat box. Why doesn't Miss Bunton want to talk about 2, 1, or 0 today? Why doesn't Ms. Bunton want to talk about 2, 1, or 0? Type your answer in the chat box, please. Okay, I don't see anybody typing an answer yet. Okay, there's one. Okay, good. All right. That's right. Grace is exactly right. Because they're not acceptable in my class, and they would not be acceptable in Miss Doherty's class either. I do believe you guys can score higher. You know the rules for writing an essay. This argumentative essay should be very easy if you're following all the steps leading up to it. This should be very easy if you're following all the steps up to it. So I want you to look. This is command of, no, I'm on the wrong page. Claim and reason. Claim and reason. That was the first thing you were supposed to do on page 74. That was your very first planning sheet, was page 74. At the top of page 74, you were to circle survive or thrive. Did you think Bud used his rules to survive or thrive? In our model essay, we can clearly see Steve Jobs used his rules to survive, to thrive. And it was stated, the claim was stated in every single paragraph. Therefore, for you to get a 4, you have to state the claim, survive or thrive, in every single one of your paragraphs. You have to. That's the job you are to prove. Now, if you look at the differences between a 4 and a 3, I'm going to go ahead and read 4, first bullet point. Clearly introduces the text and the claim in a manner that is compelling and follows logically from the task and purpose. Now I'm going to go over to column 3 and I'm going to read its first bullet point. Clearly introduces the text. Okay, that sounds exactly the same. And the claim in a manner that follows the task and purpose. There is one word that is different from the first bullet point. Can anyone find what it is? What word is different on page 78 in columns 4 and column 3? What's the word, guys?
That follows from the task and purpose.
Nope, those words are exactly the same in 4 and 3. There is a word in there in 4. How are you
compelling?
Yes, the word compelling. So let's talk about the word compelling. Compelling means you're interesting, you're exciting, your introductory paragraph has a hook, it has something to pull me in, it's exciting, it's compelling, I want to keep reading your essay right off the bat. So that's how you're going to be compelling. You're going to be introducing your claim in a compelling way. You're probably going to have a hook, then you're going to have the compelling claim and stated in a unique, cool way and all that good jazz. All right. The next bullet down says, claim and reasons demonstrate insightful analysis of the text. Let's go to column 3 and read the second bullet there. Claim and reasons demonstrate great appropriate analysis of the text. Well, the big difference there is the word insightful. So you have the word compelling and you have the word insightful here. What's going to get you this 4? Insightful means throughout your whole paper, you have put your own connections, your own insight to how Bud is living this way, your own connections, your insight, like what you truly learned when you read that rule and how it applies to Bud. It means a very mature way of writing. A very deep thinker can usually write this way, and it's okay if you can't, because a 3 is still a good grade. But to get that 4, it's insightful, your own word choice, just like Christopher Paul Curtis uses his own word choice. Now let's flip to page 79. Let's continue talking about what makes a 4 and a 3. Now in this one, it says the evidence. This would be your EE if you were in Miss Doherty's class. This would be your EE in Miss Doherty's class. In Miss Doherty's class, you have to use specific evidence that supports your claim. Specific evidence that supports your claim. In this particular case, your focus question, did Bud use his rules to survive or thrive? And the rules you chose, are you able to prove that he used this rule to either survive or thrive? You have to give evidence to support that. You can't just retell me what the rule means. That doesn't make any sense. I know what the rule means. You have to tell me what Bud was doing in the book to prove that he used that rule to survive or thrive. And this is where most of you messed up the other day on page 74. So at this point, I'm going to go back to 74 because it's important to explain skillfully and logically. This one says only logically. This one says skillfully and logically. So let's turn back to page 74 in your journal real quick. On page 74, this is where you are supposed to be logical. Number one, logical, that would be a level 3. First thing you're supposed to do on page 74 was to circle survive or thrive. You're making a claim right off the bat. Some of you didn't even circle the word. How am I supposed to know? Well, some of you did such a good job down here. I could read what you wrote and I could see because you said thrive, 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 or you said survive, survive, survive. And then you restated it again down here so I could actually tell, even though you're supposed to circle it up at the top. You were supposed to copy the rules exactly like they looked in the book. I wrote those rules on that sheet that I put under pinned items. I wrote every rule exactly. Some of you didn't even put the rule number. Well, that's going to cause you problems when you start writing your body paragraphs. Down here, the second row is where you guys really, really messed up. And some of you got a low grade because of it. Your job was to tell me in the second row, when it says my thinking, you're thinking about how Bud used that rule in the book. Some of you, all you did was rewrote the rule. Nowhere does it say paraphrase the rule. It did not say to paraphrase the rule. That was not your job. Your job, if you read the directions or listened to me on Zoom, you were to tell me how Bud used that rule to either survive or thrive. The second column, how did Bud use that rule to survive or thrive? And the third column, how did Bud use that rule that you wrote to survive or thrive? And then you had to wrap it all up. You had to prove how Bud is surviving or thriving, what is happening to him in his life at the end to prove it's true. So some of you might have to go back and redo page 74 and submit to me again because it's not following the rubric. The rubric, or you didn't follow my directions either, by the way, which I did a Zoom session on, and I recorded it, and I put it on the YouTube channel, and I wrote out directions, so there is no excuse, okay? So back to page 79, when it says command of the evidence, you are able to skillfully and logically explain how Bud was using that rule to survive or thrive. When it says skillfully, that kind of means you use great word choice. You are exciting. Your sentences sound great. It proves you know the English language and you know how to put words together. And you stayed organized because you're supposed to stay organized in the first place. You introduce the paragraph, then you state the quote, and then you analyze the quote. That's your job in each body paragraph. Now, when it says organization down here, coherence, that means when I read it, I understand it pretty well. I can read it and figure it out. You had your introduction, your 3 body paragraphs, and your conclusion. Your introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and your conclusion. You stated your claim in introduction, your 3 bodies, and your conclusion. You stated your reasons in your introduction. You restated them, paraphrased them in a different way in your conclusion. You can paraphrase your reasons in the intro and the claim, but in your body paragraphs, you have to state the rule exactly like it looks because that's your quote from the text. In your 3 body paragraphs, you have to do that. Now, the last page is control of conventions right here on page 80. At the bottom here, conventions, let's be serious, guys. Spelling, punctuation, capitalization, and grammar, you should know how to do that by the 6th grade. So this one, you should easily get your 2 points for your conventions. Not to mention, if you choose to type the essay next week, wow, she is very late. If you choose to do the essay next week, you can either write it out on notebook paper or you can type it. You can write it out or type it. All right, so now today's step, Natalie, you are very late. We started the lesson 20 minutes ago. So you missed a lot. So hopefully you can get the gist of this, or you're going to have to go to Edsby and ask me questions.
Okay.
So now we are on page 81 in your journal. Now, just like we started this whole lesson, this whole process, this step-by-step process, just like on 71, we looked at a perfectly written essay. We looked at a perfectly written essay and what we were supposed to do with a perfectly written essay, and we analyzed it during our Zoom session. And we spent 20 to 25 minutes doing that. And by the way, that was recorded, and that is on our YouTube channel also. Well, now you're going to use this model on page 81. On page 81, this is your example page of what to look at while you are completing 82, 83, and 84. This is your example page of what you're to do on page 82, 83, and 84. So let's go ahead and look what a rule sandwich is. This is your rule sandwich guide. And in other words, these are your planning pages, your planning sheets, or rough drafts, if you will, for your body paragraphs. You weren't supposed to write an essay yet because I did not assign it yet. None of your assignments say write an essay. None of them said write an essay. Not one of them. Not one of them said to write an essay. Not one. So those of you that wrote an essay, well, I hope your hand didn't hurt after you got done doing it, because you weren't supposed to do it yet. All right? Because you were supposed to follow the step-by-step directions till we got to that. And this is the next step. We talked about what makes a great essay. We looked at a model essay. We read the rubric on 78 to 80, what it's going to take to get a 4 or a 3 on your essay. You did your first planning on page 74. Okay? And we'll refer back to that later. So let's pretend, if we will, this is a well-written body paragraph. This is a well-written body paragraph. And again, this is an example from Steve Jobs' essay. Steve Jobs' essay. This is body 1 of that Steve Jobs essay. Let's go ahead and read it. I'll read it out loud while you guys follow along. While remembering his Reed college days, Steve Jobs shared his first rule. There, that's how he started off this body paragraph. Now comes the quote. You have to trust in something. That is his exact rule that he used to live by to thrive. Jobs followed his rule to trust his gut and enrolled in a calligraphy college course, which led to the typefaces and spacing used in computers today. Following the rule to trust in something helped Jobs thrive in life. Do you hear how they said the claim again? Because he trusted himself and didn't spend energy worrying about the future. So this is what you're going to do. You can see if he wrote this paragraph, did he write this paragraph skillfully and logically? Because that's what's going to take to get you a 4 in EE. This is what it's going to take to get you a 4 in the PFO and a 4 in the EE. The first thing you're going to do in a body paragraph is you're going to introduce the quote. You're going to introduce it. So look at the top bun of this sandwich. Look at the top bun. You have to introduce the quote. While remembering his Reed college days, Steve Jobs shared his first rule. Did he do that? Did he introduce the quote? Yes.
Yeah.
The middle of your sandwich, this is when you state the rule exactly like it looks in the book or the speech. This is how the rule looks exactly, and you write that in the middle of your sandwich. The rule exactly how it looks, word for word. At the bottom is where you analyze. That means this is where you explain how that person used that rule to support your claim. This bottom is where you analyze it. Let's look and see if the author of the Steve Jobs essay did analyze how he used this rule in the middle to thrive. Let's read it. Jobs followed his rule to trust his gut and enrolled in a calligraphy college course, which led to the typefaces and spacing used in computers today. Following the rule to trust in something helped Steve Jobs thrive in life because he trusted in himself and didn't spend energy worrying about the future. Did he analyze his rule?
Yes.
He tell you why Steve Jobs used that rule, trust in your gut, to thrive. Did he do that?
Yeah.
Yep, he sure did. Now, this is your example of what you are going to do. This is your example of what you are going to do on pages 82, 83, and 84. Go ahead and turn in your journal to 82, 83, and 84. Again, these will be the rough drafts of your 3 body paragraphs. These will be the rough drafts of your 3 body paragraphs. These pages, all 3 of them, will be due Friday morning. They will be due Friday morning. That means you will have to submit 3 pages to this assignment. Does everyone understand that? You will have to submit 3 pages to this assignment. Okay? Page 82. Now I want to show you how easy this is if you did page 74 correctly. If you did page 74 correctly, this is going to be super duper easy. That's why it was important for you guys to follow my directions as I wrote them with the assignment. Some of you, again, are not reading the directions on ESB when we post an assignment. Tegan, you might want to tell your brother to stop because this is a hard assignment. Okay? All right. Go back to page 74 in your journal. In your journal, the first thing you had to do was circle survive or thrive. You had to prove a claim. Do you think Bud was using his rules to survive or thrive? Then you had to choose 3 of those rules, 3 of those 11 rules that you want to use specifically to prove your claim. You had to copy the rules exactly like they looked on my rule sheet, which is under pinned items on your Reading ESB page. Rule 1, the second rule you chose, and the third rule you chose with the rule number. The second row right here. Guess what, guys? If you did this rule correctly, if you analyzed it with your own thinking correctly, you're basically going to transfer this information on this sheet to your sandwich guides. If you did not do the second row correctly, hopefully you'll do it correctly for your bottom bun today. But if you did, all you're going to have to do is transfer it over quickly. Give me a moment. Okay, now back to page 82. This page 82 is going to go with the first column you did on page 74. You're going to choose one of these sentence starters. I don't care which one you use. I don't really care. Choose one, fill it out, and then go to the middle. Copy your rule exactly as it looked from the book. Don't forget to tell me the rule number. And then this bottom bun, listen carefully, choose one of these sentence starters right here, fill it out, and then underneath that bun, analyze how Bud used that rule to survive or thrive. All right. Page 83, same thing, except this goes with the second column of page 74. Choose a sentence starter, fill it out, fill out the blanks. In the middle, you're going to write the quote exactly as it's seen in the book and the rule number. Down here, choose a sentence starter, fill it out, and underneath, analyze how Bud used this rule to survive or thrive. Again, you're supporting your claim the whole way through. Page 84, This will be the third rule that you chose. Again, choose a sentence starter, fill it out, copy the quote exactly as it looks. The bottom bun, choose a sentence starter, and underneath that bun, analyze how Bud used that rule to survive or thrive to support your claim. So again, I'm going to tell you, if you have been following my step-by-step directions for this essay and not jumped the gun and not skipped any steps, this is the next step. This is the rough draft of your body paragraphs. That is exactly why you are not supposed to write an essay yet. No one told you to write an essay. No one said that anywhere. It's not written in any of my directions either. You people, your teachers are getting frustrated because you're not reading the directions and you're not going back to where you should have started and starting back up. Some of you are doing quite well though. So for those of you that did quite well on page 74, you should see this assignment today is going to be pretty easy, because if you did this page correctly, all you're going to do is copy what you had in this box over to page 82 and your analysis on the bottom of page 82. For your second column, your second rule, you're going to transfer what you had here for your rule exactly like it looks to page 83, your analysis at the bottom of page 83. For this rule right here, you're going to copy this and transfer it to page 84 and your analysis to the bottom of page 84. So it'll be very easy, okay? All right, now is your time to ask questions now that I've done a 30-minute lesson. And Drew, I'm done with the lesson. Drew, do you hear me?
Yes.
So now what?
Wait for the 2:31?
No, you're late for the 12 o'clock one. You did the same thing yesterday. You're not reading. That was how I opened today's lesson. You guys do not read your pages. You do not read the directions. You're not following the directions the teachers are given. You're kind of like, and I'm going to say it again, if you don't attend a Zoom session, it's going to be problematic for some of you. Like I said at the beginning of this session today, I don't have IXL. I don't have Flipgrid. I don't have Ed Puzzle lessons for any of this Bud Not Buddy stuff. I don't have it. I have to teach it. I wish I were like Rosado and Zook and Delgado, where I could just pick something and assign it. You know how much free time I would have during the day if I got to do that? Man, I'd love my life. Shoot, I'd have so much time, it'd be crazy. But I don't, I have to teach it. And you guys have to be in attendance to learn how to do it. And as most of you that have been here for the last 30 minutes, you understand. Do you understand that? Okay. Now what you need to do is you need to ask questions about any of these assignments. Ask any questions that you had about our lesson today, or for that matter, you could ask me questions about 70, 71. You could ask me questions all the way back to page 70, because all of those pages go together for this project. Now is the time to ask, guys, while you have me here.
So these are really just making what we did on page 74 bigger, and that's basically all it is, right?
Yes, pages 82, 83, and 84 are making you focus on each page on one particular body paragraph. And basically, if you do them well, they will be your rough drafts for your body paragraphs.
Okay.
Okay? But I got to reiterate, I got to repeat it again. If you did not do 74 correctly, you're going to have to spend some time analyzing, because you did not analyze on your second row on page 74, which is what I directed everybody to do. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to throw this out there real quick, because some of the teachers were complaining a little bit yesterday, and you guys know how I am. I'm very honest with you guys. In fact, sometimes I'm brutally honest. We have a feeling that, how do I say this in a nice way? Some of your parents or sisters or brothers love you so much that they want to do the work for you. And the problem with that is you're not doing the learning, they are. So some families are getting really, really smart and you're not knowing what to do. If you were left to do it on your own, it would be a problem. I do know that we're in an e-learning situation, but when you come back into school in August, you better know how to do what's being taught. Does everyone understand that? Because you cannot afford to lose time. 7th grade is way too busy. And if you are not learning the standards and the skills we're trying to teach now, it could hurt you later, very much so. And I don't want that to happen to any of you. Okay? There is a difference between an adult helping you and an adult doing the work for you. Helping means they're answering questions. Telling you what to write and even typing or writing it for you, no. No, no. That's not going to be cool with me. Got it? Okay.
My parents, unless I have to figure out on my own, and if I still don't understand it, that's when they actually like will explain what I need
That
to
is
do.
correct. Every good learner, and I'm going to tell you this for a fact, and I know this to be true, every good learner has to struggle a little bit. And then they get over that hump and then they're like, oh, I get it. But at first, if it's something new, you're not supposed to know how to do it. You're supposed to struggle through it. That's why I did all of these lessons step by step. Step by step. That is also why you have 2 days to complete 82, 83, and 84, because I want it done well. I want it done well. All right. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and go. If you are interested in the ELP session, it will be starting at 2:30. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Then.
Bye.
Bye. How do I leave?
Bye.